So yeah, thanks so much. And now we can start. So let me first tell about what is education. I've already mentioned to you that we are a student recruitment company, but more about us. So we are based in Tampere, Finland, but we have team members across Europe and Asia. And here on the screen, you can see some of the team members. So we have more than 40 colleagues, and all of them have, well, it doesn't matter where we are, how far we're from each other. Me and the Lex are very far from each other in terms of time and distance, but we all have one goal to help you with your studies in Europe. And you can actually even see Alexa here. So let me find her. She's here in the middle left, like in the very, very left, with like kind of ombre hair. So there are also other team members. So we are very happy to be helping you. And we have helped students from 2017. We have helped many students, and now it's your turn. So let me tell you about the program that we have in highlight today. So first, to discuss why you would study in vocational education in Germany. Some benefits. These are not all. We have many. So first is that it is tuition free. So vocational studies in Germany have no tuition fee, even for international students. And also, there's a really good structure of learning. 70% of time is spent in company, and 30% is studying theory in vocational school. So you're actually learning the skills in a real life work environment, not only in classroom. Then safety. And Germany is ranked 20th out of 163 countries in the Global Peace Index 2025. And safety is actually one of the major reasons why the students usually move to Europe. At least it's what I hear. Some of our colleagues who work in our office in Finland also told me that. And another benefit is that there's valuable practical experience. So as I said, you're actually learning in a real workplace. You are trained in real German companies. You build practical skills that are actually relevant in the current working life. But of course, there's more, but we have yes, someone is thank you for the tuition fees. Well, there is payment in this program. I will tell you later. But in the end, the actual vocational education is tuition free. But we have a program that will help you to prepare for this vocational education and get admission in it. So I will tell you more. So next, reasons why you would study in Germany. German education is recognized, so it's very recognized in Europe. Also, the program that we're presenting is quite popular, for example, in Asia. So some of the students would recognize the German word Ausbildung. And there are also really great after graduation opportunities. So you can stay in Germany up to 18 months after graduation from vocational program. Of course, this is with the current rules. They may change, but as of now, these are the benefits. And you can also secure permanent residency in Germany after 2 years from graduation if you have German B1 language skill. And you will be able to reach German B1 with our pathway program, and I'll tell you how. And just a reminder that we have our Q&A box, so you can send your questions there. You can also send them in the chat, but it's a bit harder to keep track of what is in the chat. So if you want to track your question better, please send it in the Q&A box. But yeah, hope to see your questions, and we always try to give the most relevant information to you in these webinars. Like sometimes we would have very specific questions that we would actually even ask one of our colleagues who manages this program to connect here and answer them. So this is your opportunity to ask anything that you wish to know about this program. But why you would choose Edunation's Pathway to Vocational program? This is the program that we're actually telling about. So first, conditional acceptance into companies and schools. So this vocational training that I just told you about, of course, it needs a proper application and you need to get an admission. And you also need to know the German language. So how you can get the admission vocational program? We have a very structured pathway program with Edunation. And in this program, we will arrange your applications and interviews directly with German employers and schools. And that would give you a very clear route into this. As I said before, you might recognize Ausbildung. So you don't need to search for everything on your own. Once you're in this program, we will guide you. There will be interviews with the companies. And if you pass the program, you will continue to do vocational training in Germany. DVT is dual vocational training. Then another great thing in this program is that there's guided German language training. So you don't have to know German now. If you do know, you will get some discount, but you don't have to know any German now. You can learn it during the program because the program will teach you from zero German level up to B2. So the classes would be online, and this German level is needed to prepare you for vocational school, exams, and work. I see we have already some chat messages, and I'll get to them after finishing this one. And as I told you before, this pathway is very structured, so you don't need to figure this out on your own, and not like when you're in this program, you know what you need to do. So if you just reach the level and if you study well, you will get accepted. While if you apply on your own, there's a lot of uncertainty, especially in the timeline. So this is a great choice if you want a structured pathway that leads to vocational education recognized across Europe. But now let me check the chat, but I can leave you on the screen some logos of German companies so you can see all of these companies are based in Germany. So Germany is home of world leading companies. Yes. So Alexa is already helping with the questions here in the chat. Thanks for that. And for the age limit, as Alexa wrote here, from 18 to 35 is the age range. And if you're older than that, don't leave the webinar because we have a similar program, but for higher education, and there's no age limit there. Generally, out of all the programs we have, this is the only one that has such a limited age range. So we will also tell you like more about education. And as Alexa said, there will be counseling sessions in the end. So please stay until the end. Maybe you also have some family members who want to apply. But Alexa, you wanted to add something. Could you, yeah, just go ahead.
Thanks, Vasa. I just want to answer in live a question that we have here. The very first one we have here at the Q&A box. So from Toby, I'm currently a fourth year nursing student from the Philippines, but I want to pursue the opportunity that you will give me. So this is actually a great opportunity for you, Toby, given that this nursing vocational program does not require someone or an applicant rather to already have completed any bachelor's degree program. So that means your level of knowledge currently, since you've already have a background for almost 4 years in the nursing strand, will give you an edge. All right, so that means you'll have an easy time to adjust with the studies, and at the same time with the course discussions that you will be expecting during the program. But as what I've mentioned, you don't need really to complete that yet to apply for this program. Thanks, Vasa.
Thanks a lot, Alexa. And that was a really nice answer. We actually even have a second Q&A. Maybe it's a follow-up. Let me check. What fees we need to expect? Um, yes, I will show that to you very soon. There is a fee, but we have really good opportunities, and the fee is very affordable for the amount of services that's included in the program. So Just bear with me for a little bit. We want to show you the structure first, and then we talk about the fees and the next intake. Yes, so okay, now it's loaded for me. Alexa, if you can still help the participants in the chat, as since I'm sharing the screen, I couldn't see the chat. Yes, so here you can see approximate journey of a pathway to vocational student. So first, of course, there's a pre-requirement. We need you to have a completed secondary school, and well, 11 years is also acceptable, and also require some kind of basic knowledge of the chosen field and motivation, of course. Then the Edunation's Pathway program goes next in the preparation stage. So it's from 6 to 9 months pathway to vocational preparatory program. And after you pass it, you would go to dual vocational training in Germany, and that lasts from 2 to 3.5 years. Then, of course, some years ahead, you would complete it. Um, well, if you complete it, you can apply for the opportunities, such as, for example, job seeking permit, or even further, you could apply for permanent residency, even study further. Yes. So I will leave this on the screen. And let me check again. Do we have questions? Maybe not now. Alexa is helping you out. So the program that you can apply with us is here in the preparation stage. So about the highlights of this dual vocational training in Germany. It's sorry, just a moment. Um, we have we have Rose who wants to who has a hand up, or not anymore. Sorry. Well, let me just reshare my screen. Okay, so sorry for that. I needed to reshare my screen and camera as well. So here we see our four highlights. So standardization, regulation, recognition, and of course that it's tuition free. That's what I already told you a little bit earlier. But overall, um, for standardization, there are nationwide regulations that define the content and schedule of education. So this is the regulated education. The contents are updated to make sure that it fits the requirement of working life, and it is recognized in Germany, in Europe, and for your home countries. Of course, I see here that in the comments some people even recognize this word Ausbildung. So let's check more how you can actually, well, not yet about application. We have even more benefits. There's so much that I even forgot how much. So one of the greatest things, the most attractive things for the students in this program is that there is allowance during dual vocational training in Germany. So not only the studies are tuition free, but you also would get allowance or stipend. So it's from 800 to 1,200 euros. In nursing studies, it's like from 1,000 to 1,200. So that's quite nice. So you don't have to pay for the education, actual vocational training, and you also get allowance. So just a note that this is not salary, it's allowance as you're a student and not employee. But you are receiving this allowance as long as you are in the program. Of course, it will end after you graduate. But for the entire program, as long as you're progressing in your studies, there would be an allowance. There are also other benefits to support your enrollment in this dual vocational training. There's a buddy system, so you would get paired with a newcomer. Sorry, sorry, the words blend in my screen. You are a newcomer, and you get paired up with an experienced student who will actually help you and provide some guidance based on their own experience. So you won't be alone. And also during this program, Education will help you. We'll really try to make sure that whatever challenges you encounter, you know how to proceed further. So this is a really good program, and especially maybe the allowance bit is very nice to you. Not sure if you knew that before a webinar or not. And here you can see some like experiences from the student that took place, like who participated in this program. So I'll leave it on the screen and let me check the chat. Yes, Alex is still answering you here. Thanks so much.
We
Do
have
you want to share
one
something, Alex?
question, Basa. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. We have one new question at the Q&A box. I'm not sure if you're able to see that while you're sharing your screen. So if you want, I could read it for you. So it's a Sri
Is
Lankan.
it about Sri Lankan applying to the program?
Yes.
Yes, it is possible. I've now replied to the chat. Yes, if you're coming from Sri Lanka, it is also possible to apply. Thanks, Alexa, for bringing this question. But here we can see a journey of Tracy. So thanks so much for sharing your testimonial here. So as for Tracy, she heard about the dual vocational training from a friend, and really she felt like this is the right opportunity for her, but she didn't have any idea what it was like, what it's like to be a nurse. But of course, during the pandemic, back when she applied, nursing became a really highly valued profession. So she decided to give it a try. So Tracy didn't have previous experience before, as it's not a requirement for this program. So those of you who don't have experience in nursing but want to start journey in this field, you can apply to this Pathway to Vocational program in Germany. Here are a bit more answers that you can see on the screen. Meanwhile, let me check if we have more questions. Always nice to see what the applicants want to ask us. Will accommodation also be provided? So there's opportunity to live in student housing, but the payment for rent is not included in the program. So this is something that you have to pay on your own. For example, from the allowance that you're getting during dual vocational training. Yeah, let's go next. I hope you were able to read Tracy's experiences, but as you see, she was able to practice in many places, ultimately like getting the very versatile experience and in the end graduating as a nurse. And the best memory was to actually like master the language, even though in the beginning it was quite hard with the local dialect. And about what she's doing after this program is she's now working in operating room, and the shift is from Monday to Friday. So maybe in future we'll put one of your success stories to such webinar. Let's see. Yes, so let's check the structure of this pathway to vocational training. If we check nursing track, it would lead to nursing vocational qualification, which in Germany would last 3 years, and as I said, allowance is from around 1,000 to 1,200 euros, but it's only paid during the dual vocational training studies in Germany. So it's not paid during the pathway program or after. This is only for your study time. And we also have another track, which is in restaurant and hospitality. Um, no, there was another name. I'm sorry for that. Either hospitality and tourism or restaurant and hospitality, culinary and hospitality. Yes, that was the right one. But now we're highlighting the nursing opportunity. But it is possible to also check another track. We actually have some other webinars for that. The allowance there is a little bit less, but duration is the same. Also, the language requirement is lower. So, as I told you before, the structure. So I think it's very balanced way to actually learn in vocational training, because the actual skills you learn them in the workplace, and then you also support whatever you learn with theory studies. And theoretical studies are conducted in a vocational school, and practical studies are, of course, in the workplace. So as for the next intake, so finally, you can already start writing some dates when you should apply. You can check what intake is better for you. Our closest intake and the most affordable opportunity is in April 2026. So now, Alexa, could you please tell more about the actual nursing opportunity for April intake? And I will be attending to the chat while you're doing that.
Thanks, Vas. I was actually trying to answer the latest question we have in the chat. So there were actually a lot of questions in regards to those having different previous study track that they have already accomplished. So just to let you know, guys, this does not require someone to have completed a bachelor's degree if you're wanting to pursue a nursing program to be specific, since that is one of the available courses. You only need to have a bachelor degree background if you wanted to push through the second course option, which is caretaker and educator for special needs. So just to let you know, the language course requirement for this, which Vasa earlier mentioned, not for you to already have accomplished when applying for admission, but rather what you will be pushing through initially after you get admitted to this program before the actual pathway studies itself is the German B2, or equivalent to an upper intermediate level. So that means all of the accepted applicants for admission will actually be taking up this German B2 Finnish language, German language program that will be offered by a donation. So that means all of you will start from zero. And just in case you already have a German background, please feel free to let the admissions team know, or initially your counselor. That way, you could be opt for some discounts. So that's actually very important for you to mention when applying. So let's now discuss the schedules. So first will be the deadline. Okay. So deadline for application submission would be end of this month. So that's actually less than a week from now. To be specific, March 31st. So it would be important for you to submit the application form earlier than that date, given that you will need to be still scheduled for the next steps of the admission process. So it's better for you to submit early. That way, the admissions team will have ample time to check your submitted documents and ask of you to submit some additional missing documents if there are any along the way. So now we'll also be discussing the specific start of the program. So it will be April 7th. So that will also be the determining date of when the payments will be asked of you. So that means that if you decide to pay in two installments, so the first payment, okay, must be paid before that date, before April 7th, amounting to 7,400 euro. And the second payment of the remaining amount, 6,500 euro, must be paid by July 7th. So all in all, that sums up to the regular tuition fee amounting to 13,900 euro. But there's an exclusive upfront payment discount, which is 9,600 euro already. Um, uh, the discount amount have already deducted from this 9,600 euro. So I hope that you could actually, get this exclusive discounted amount of 9,600 euro instead of paying the full amount of 13,900. But anyhow, um, either of the two payment methods you choose are acceptable for this program. If we could move to the next slide, please. So here, if you could see that for the July intake, we have a different payment amount, but there's an early bird price of 11,600 euro. So earlier, Vasa mentioned that there are two intakes. The current one is the April 2026 intake or the spring intake. And for the autumn intake, which will start in July, the details are the same. Everything that I've discussed in the previous slide is the same. The only thing different is the price itself. So the payment schedule is gonna be, if you decide to do the normal payment schedule, that's going to be for 13,900. First payment must be before the start of the program, meaning before July, and the second payment must be paid by October 4th. So that's the amount of 6,500 euros. So it's the same amount, just different payment schedule. But of course, the early bird price is different. That amounts to 11,600 euro if you decide to have the full payment upfront, okay, once you get accepted, right? So I hope that's clear. You could also take a screenshot or get a slide copy of this from the counselors later during the breakout session. If we could move to the next slide, please. So if we also do have an Edonation Ambassador Scholarship Program, Vasa, would you want to discuss the slide, or do you want me to continue in here?
Hi, Alexa. Yes, I can share about the scholarship. Thanks so much. We also had one question in the Q&A that was about bringing pets, but I'm checking with one of our team members about that, and I'll get back to that question. So, in in addition to those early bird opportunities there that you could pay up front and have a cheaper fee, you also can save more if you apply for Education Ambassador Scholarship. So Education Ambassador Scholarship amounts to 1,000 euros, and I even have amount in your local currencies here. Since we had a lot of people from the Philippines, I'm gonna tell you how much it's in the Philippine pesos. So in Philippine pesos, it's 68,445. Someone was here from Sri Lanka. It was 3,059,655 Sri Lankan rupees. Okay, I'm not sure if I read numbers correct because I'm so used to the Finnish way of telling numbers.
Hi, Vasa.
We can
Sorry to
send this to
interrupt.
the chat.
Yeah, I've already sent it, Vasa, to the chat. Sorry to
Ah, okay,
interrupt.
great.
Yeah,
Great.
that way you could continue with the presentation better.
Thanks so much for that, Alexa. Now we continue to actually how you can apply for this. So this opportunity is quite limited. So you should hurry up. But of course, there is still time. Otherwise, we wouldn't present it here. So yes, let me go to the next screen to. Um, well, sorry, there was another slide about how to apply. But generally, you should after you applied education, you just should let our admission team know that you want to be also considered for the scholarship. And there are some requirements that we have if you're accepted. Like I think it was like making an interview after you arrived to Germany. As you've seen, we had that success story. So we need more success stories, and that's one of the things of the scholarship criteria is that if you're selected, we would ask you to be in contact with us after the program so we can make some stories together with you. So, yeah, as of now, this opportunity is still open, so you can save even more. Feel free to ask anything more about the scholarship. And actually, you can apply for the scholarship already before the application. And then you can decide, after if you receive it or not. Like, if you receive it, you can decide do you want to apply. We will share you the link as well in the chat soon. But as for the return on investment, if we talk about the nursing vocational program, so you can see that the payback time is really fast, from 2 to 4 months. Of course, it's approximate, so it may be a little bit longer. But compared to other countries where return on investment can take up to 11 years, this is a really fast time. So you're getting a lot of value for this investment in your studies. I'll just leave it on the screen as the numbers are talking and I'll check our question answer. Um, Yes, still this question that I'm waiting for a reply on. I'll get back to you. Yes, thank you, Alexa. You have sent the amounts.
Hi, Vasa. I think we have a new question from the Q&A box, but I think you would be the best person to answer that. There's a new
Is
one
it
coming.
about
Are we allowed to
pets?
bring pets? Yes.
Yes, I'm just asking from one of our team members as I don't know the answer to that yet. So I left it open so I can provide the answer there later. Yes, so another way to get a discount. So this is in addition to the paying in one installment, in addition to the ambassador scholarship, we have another opportunity how you can save even more. If you happen to already know some German, maybe you studied it in school or you previously maybe worked with someone from Germany. If you already have the language skill, there's even further discount available. And we will test the language skill just like in internal assessment. So no need to take official test from actual German authorities. So if you do know German, we will test it, and then you'll be given discount if you actually have the level that you claimed about. So actually, there are really, really nice savings here. You can see them on the screen. And if we talk about the normal price, which is without early bird, so here it's on the screen. So we have a whole three opportunities to save even more from the original price. And if you want to make sure that you benefit from all of them, make sure to connect with your counselor. So stay after this webinar because we'll have breakout rooms with counselors. And also we will reach out to every single registrant for the webinar. So please do check your inbox. More about the nursing course. So in Germany, all graduates of sorry for that. Actually, this is the question about pets that I got notification about. So in Germany, everyone who graduates from the vocational training, like dual vocational training in nursing, are considered registered nurses. Then during the actual dual vocational training, you will acquire practical experience within healthcare or nursing organizations. If you remember the success story of Tracy, she was, for example, trained in many different places like nursing home, ending up working in operating room. So you will get a very useful experience. Language requirement. So proficiency at B2 level is necessary, but we will teach you up to that level in the pathway program. And as for course entry requirements, the Bachelor of Science in Nursing is not required. Only school leaving certificates and relevant documentation are needed for the nursing track. But if you do have experience in nursing, that's already a benefit. So this is great opportunity both for if you just want to start this journey or if you already are, you have some experience in this field. So let's check the program timeline. But first, about the program timeline, important thing to note is that the timeline depends on the B1, B2 level of German external exam. And just a reminder, for nursing it's B2, but I mentioned to you the other culinary track, it had B1. But for nursing it's B2, and average waiting time is around 3 to 6 months after passing this external exam. And the exact months vary based on learning progress and interview performance. So here's the timeline for nursing and healthcare track for April 2026. I'll leave it on the screen. Yes, so one of my colleagues, Derek, he has sent you a link where you can actually book a counseling session with our counselors. So it's free. And as for the question about the pets, unfortunately, we were not able to find a reply as this is quite specific one. But however, I recommend you to just apply and then during your application, we will inquire that from from the institutions if that's allowed. Yes, so here you can see that for the April intake, you will have German from A1 to B1 online studies from April to September 2026, 20 hours per week. And this happens in home country. Then continuing from German B1 to B2, that's from October to December 2026, still online and 20 hours per week. And that's the time where you register and take the German B2 external exam. Around January to May 2027, we help you with the application process. You have interviews with employers, you have visa application guidance and pre-departure briefing. All that is included in the pathway program. And I will tell you more about what is included. Then if we go to the part where you are in Germany, so you would arrive in Germany around June to July 2027, and you will start your dual vocational training. And around November 2030, of course, it may be like 1 month later or earlier, you would hopefully complete your vocational training. But let's see the July track. I will not speak it out loud because it's a similar timeline. You just postpone it by like from April to July. So let me go to the next slide. Actually, yeah, so if you remember the ambassador scholarship, this is the information that I've shared to you about how to apply and what is required. But just mention that you want to be considered for this scholarship during your application, and we'll send another link in the chat as well. And sorry, Alexa, could you take over as I need to actually connect my charger? Sorry for that.
Sure thing, Vas. I can continue from here. And going back to the previous slide, by the way, that Vas has been presenting, guys, just to let you know, I have sent in the chat a copy of the timeline flow for the program, specifically referring to the nursing track for the April 2026 intake. So please feel free to save the file. That way you'd be reminded of the program timeline. So it's the same thing that Vasa previously discussed in the previous slide. So now let's discuss what's included in this program. So first, A1 to B1 or B2 German language classes online. So specifically for this nursing track, then that's going to be B2 German language classes. So that's also going to be including German external exam preparation classes for B2 level. So support to register for external B2 German exam. So online learning platform. Next would be DVT application preparation. Another inclusion would be DVT applications. Next would be interview preparation, mock interviews, documentation check after receiving offer letter, certificates translation and certification, visa application guidance, pre-departure briefing, intercultural briefing, airport transfer arrangement from the nearest airport upon arrival, transportation fee excluded, so please take note of that. So next would be registration at City Hall, and lastly, our after arrival and emergency support. So please take note that this all in bullets are the inclusions if you get admission for this program. So that is the inclusion of the fees that you will be paying. All right. So you could also get a copy of this later on, again, from the counselors or the admission specialists during the application flow. Next slide, please.
Thanks so much, Alexa, for helping out. I can take over as
Sure
we
thing,
have the
Beth.
next slide about what is like a subject to external fee. Maybe one note about the interview. So interview means like interview with the company, because for you to have dual vocational training, you will actually need to be connected to a company, as you need companies to train in. And 2 interviews are included, and that's enough for majority of students. But if you need a third one, that's subject to another fee. But we will prepare you for that interview. That's why the mock interviews are there too. So about what's not included, but of course we can guide you how to get it. It's not like you have to figure this out on your own. So external exam fee, B1 or B2. B2 is for nursing, B1 is for that other track, which is in culinary field, culinary hospitality. But as we focus on nursing, that's B2. External fees around €200. And if you need to retake it, of course, retake fees also paid by you. Then, as I said, additional interview arrangement if the two free ones were unsuccessful. Then visa application fee, but we will guide you about the visa. Flight ticket and travel insurance, then accommodation in Germany. Someone asked about that before. Then meals and individual expenses in Germany. Public health insurance, that is required during the study phase by German regulations. Liability insurance, visa extension fees in Germany, and any other additional charges that are caused by some unexpected changes or visa delays. And the income requirement for the student visa is €11,900 in a blocked account. Blocked account means that you can withdraw 1/12 amount of the money per month. However, you remember that this program has allowance, and allowance can either partially or fully cover the income requirement. So this is just the general requirement for the student visa, but since you have allowance, you might utilize it to cover the income requirement. But here you can see the approximate costs of living in Germany as a student. Let me check what we have in the Q&A. Yes, so someone is asking about the Golden Ticket to Europe scholarship. So this is the same scholarship that I just presented about, the Ambassador Scholarship. So this is if you would, for example, like to apply for the scholarship first and check if you are shortlisted, and only after apply to dual vocational training. Pathway to vocational to Germany. So this is the same scholarship. Yes, let's go to the next slide. So Alexa, as counselor, I know you're excelling at helping students apply. So can you please guide for the admission requirements as well?
Sure thing, Vasa. We'll take it from this slide now. So, for the requirements, when you are planning to apply for the nursing and healthcare track, then that would be the passport. Second would be the resume. Then third would be the certificate of employment. Fourth would be the high school transcript of records and certificates. So we are referring to the higher secondary education records and certificate in this part. Then lastly, that would be a bachelor's degree or diploma transcript of records and certificate if you are applying for the course option specifically referring to the caretaker for special needs people. So please try to take note that just in case you are applying for the nursing program, to be specific, there are only 4 requirements. All right. And the highest educational attainment required is just a higher secondary education. And the fifth one in the list is only if you opt to apply for the caretaker and educator for special needs people. That is that you need to be a bachelor's degree holder or a diploma, and you should also be presenting a diploma plus transcript of records for that to prove. Right? So I hope that's clear. So the fourth and the fifth bullets are the non-negotiable things of the admission requirements. So the first amount that you need to pay when you decide to kickstart with your application process would be an amount of only €100. That already includes for you to have your documents checked and at the same time undergo the pre-qualification steps by the admissions team. And once you qualify, then it also includes for you to receive the admission documents from our admissions team. And the tuition fee payment here will only be paid or will only be asked of you once you finally get accepted for the program and once you decide to accept the offer for the program. So For the tuition fee payment amount, that's why it's not specified in here. It's because there are different amounts depending on the payment mode or model that you will be choosing, as what me and Vasa previously discussed. Either you decide to pay in full or upfront to avail of the exclusive discounted amount, or the scheduled payment in two halves that we've also discussed previously. So you can get a copy of that from the counselors later, or the admissions team specialists later on. If we could move to the next slide, please. So I think
Yes.
Vasa would be the perfect person to discuss this part.
Uh, yeah. So here we can see, thanks Alexa, we can see some pictures of a student life. For example, someone asked about like student accommodation. So well, I think these look really nice. We have some, I think these pictures were taken in autumn based on the weather, but you can see that actually like the accommodation, there are like all the utilities and uh, there's also vocational school where you were going to theoretical classes. So if you become a student, hope to get some pictures from you that we can include later. There are some frequently asked questions, and I can cover them shortly before we go to breakout session part. So about the distance, so how far is the host institution from the learning center? So in most cases, locations are within normal travel distance because, of course, we understand that you would won't have a car, you need to use public transport. And local travel arrangements are discussed. Sorry, I forgot to turn my camera on. Yes, local travel arrangements are discussed during the pre-departure orientation to ensure convenience for all the participants. And just in case it's not possible to select a city in this program, so usually the location of your school is something that's assigned during the pathway program because it's based on the location of the employer. Then regarding if you need to bring money to Germany or not, we recommend that you bring 1,000 euro to cover living expenses during the first month because the allowance, of course, doesn't arrive on the first day. It starts, at the end of the month, usually. And then about the daily life in the program. So, of course, in addition to learning, you will also have free time where you can, like, during which you can explore local communities, improve your language skills, of course, and connect with your peers and classmates. And here's a question that actually some of the participants asked about blocked account. So it depends on the placement structure and financial arrangements. It depends on your allowance amount, but some of the participants may not need to open a blocked account as allowance would present the income requirement. However, as you've seen, visa guidance is included in this program, so this is something that we will guide you with after your language training is going to the end and your start visa preparation. Then regarding what qualifications you receive after 3 years, of course you will receive official recognized vocational certificate, which is issued by the German Chamber Authority. And this qualification is accepted across Germany and recognized in many other European countries. And as for being recognized outside Europe, I think we've mentioned before, well, it depends on your home country regulations, but it is a very popular education, this Ausbildung. And final question, what happens after you complete the program? So after completion, you could explore further study options or pursue professional development opportunities in Germany. Or, for example, you could go to other countries if you wish. It depends on your interests and qualifications, whether you have a job lined up. So, yeah, that would be all for the frequently asked questions. And now here you can see the application form. You can either save this link or scan the QR code. So, Alexa, is there anything here that you want to highlight? Because we already thought about this a little bit earlier. Is there anything here that you wish participants to remember?
Hi, Vasa. I think everything has been clear from your discussion from your side in this slide. I would just like to highlight that the early bird schedules that we have would be end of this month. So that would be less than a week from now. So hopefully you could guys already kickstart with the application process and already submit the form by either, as Vasa mentioned, clicking on this link in here that we could send in the chat in the webinar chat or scanning the QR code. Either of both will actually direct you to the same JOT form that you need to fill out with just your basic information for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then at the last part, which is for you to attach your documents. And by the way, guys, just for you to know, as long as you are actually confident that you reach the minimum educational background requirement to apply for the program, then the other requirements, as I've discussed in the previous slides earlier, for the admission documents, you could have them to follow with the admissions team if they are not yet available, as long as, again, you do have the minimum educational qualification. And you need to pay the 100 euro by when you submit the form. That way your application submission would be checked and um uh, uh, will be actually have for the admissions team to actually check out your documents that you have submitted in the form. So hopefully you could already submit the form before the end of this month. That way you could avail of the early bird promo. So I think that would be all, Vasa, and anything else that they want to ask, they could actually have their clarifications answered in the breakout room, since we do have also other counselors available for them to chat or have a discussion with. And not only that, we also, I think, have some admission specialists available to attend the breakout room session. Thanks, Vasa.
Thanks a lot, Alexa. And actually, I'm creating the breakout rooms now, so don't leave the webinar. And you will see the breakout room list, and you will see the counselor name and the languages they speak. So you can go to that room.